The hidden power of the man who doesn't react lies in his calm, restraint, and self-mastery. He observes, chooses, and acts with purpose. His confidence comes from within, his actions speak louder than words, and his emotional control commands respect. True strength is silent, deliberate, and magnetic. Calmness is strength because it is the silent force that others often fail to recognize. While the world rushes, yells, and reacts impulsively, the calm man moves with intention, aware of his power, but never needing to showcase it. Calmness is not weakness. It is mastery over the chaos that surrounds him, a mastery most can only admire from a distance. Every moment he remains composed is a moment of control over his own mind and emotions. In a society that equates loudness with power, calmness is revolutionary. It demands patience, self-awareness, and courage, qualities that cannot be faked or forced. When faced with provocation, a calm man does not react impulsively. He observes, evaluates, and chooses his response carefully. This restraint makes him unpredictable and powerful. Others may explode in anger or frustration, wasting energy on reactions that lead nowhere, but he conserves his energy for moments that truly matter. Calmness allows him to think clearly, to see the bigger picture, and to act in alignment with his goals rather than the whims of the moment. There is a magnetic quality to someone who doesn't need to prove themselves in every argument or confrontation. His silence speaks louder than any words could. Calmness is strength because it inspires others. People are drawn to those who remain steady in storms. A calm presence reassures, influences, and guides without demanding attention. Others feel safe, respected, and understood simply by being near him. When the world is chaotic, his composure becomes a beacon, showing that strength does not always roar. Real strength does not require proving itself at every turn. It exists quietly, confidently, and unwaveringly. In relationships, calmness becomes a source of respect and attraction. A person who reacts impulsively may cause conflict or insecurity, but the calm individual demonstrates emotional intelligence and maturity. By controlling his responses, he sets the tone, teaches boundaries without words, and communicates that he will not be swayed by drama or unnecessary tension. His calmness is a reflection of his inner stability, his self-respect, and his understanding of what truly deserves his energy. People notice it instinctively. It is magnetic, subtle, yet undeniable. The strength in calmness also lies in its ability to withstand challenges. Life is unpredictable and crises are inevitable, but a calm mind can navigate adversity with clarity and resilience. While others panic, he analyzes, adapts, and moves forward strategically. Calmness becomes a shield against impulsive mistakes, a guide through uncertainty, and a source of confidence that cannot be shaken by external chaos. Those who possess it understand that reacting is often a weakness, while responding with composure is power. In essence, calmness is not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. It is the ability to remain grounded while the world moves in a frenzy. It is strength without aggression, influence without force, and power without the need to dominate. Every moment spent in calmness strengthens character, builds resilience, and radiates a presence that commands respect. Those who underestimate calmness often find themselves drawn to it, learning consciously or unconsciously that true strength lies not in reaction, but in composure, clarity, and self-mastery. Mastery over self is the foundation of true power. It begins with understanding that the most significant battles are not fought outside, but within. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction is an opportunity to exercise control over oneself. A man who has mastered himself does not allow circumstances, other people's opinions, or fleeting emotions to dictate his actions. He recognizes that surrendering to impulse is surrendering his power. True mastery begins with awareness of one's mind, one's triggers, and one's desires. Only when a person knows himself fully can he begin to navigate life with purpose, precision, and clarity. Self-mastery is not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be invulnerable. It is about choosing how to respond rather than react. When anger, frustration, or fear arises, the mastered individual observes these emotions without being consumed by them. He evaluates their source and decides whether they deserve his energy. By doing so, he becomes the director of his life, no longer a passive participant at the mercy of external circumstances. Others may be driven by emotion, losing control over situations that matter most, while he moves deliberately, confident in his ability to steer the course of his life with intention. Discipline is the cornerstone of self-mastery. It is the ability to delay gratification, to stay committed to goals, and to act consistently even when motivation fades. A man who has mastered himself is not swayed by short-term temptations or the noise of the world. He understands the value of persistence, patience, and steady progress. His habits reflect his priorities, and his actions are deliberate extensions of his principles. Every choice is a statement of his control, a reflection of the internal power he has cultivated. Self-mastery also requires resilience. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable, but a person who governs himself does not crumble under pressure. He adjusts, adapts, and continues moving forward with a calm assurance. Mistakes do not define him. They are lessons to refine his character, to strengthen his resolve, and to deepen his understanding of himself. While many blame circumstances or others for their missteps, the mastered individual accepts responsibility, recognizing that control over oneself is the only control that truly matters. Emotional intelligence is a natural byproduct of self-mastery. By understanding and managing his own emotions, he can navigate relationships with clarity and empathy. He communicates effectively, sets boundaries, and commands respect without aggression. Others are drawn to his presence because it exudes stability, reliability, and depth. People sense that he is grounded, that he is guided by principle rather than reaction, and that he cannot be easily shaken. In essence, mastery over self is freedom. It liberates a man from the chains of impulse, fear, and external influence. It gives him the power to choose his path, define his values, and live a life aligned with his highest potential. Every moment of restraint, every act of conscious choice, and every disciplined decision reinforces this power. It is not an achievement announced with fanfare. It is a quiet, unyielding force that shapes his life, influences those around him, and commands respect without demand. Mastery over self transforms a man into the architect of his destiny, unwavering, confident, and profoundly free. Emotional detachment is magnetic because it exudes a quiet confidence that others cannot help but notice. It is not about being cold or indifferent. Rather, it is the ability to remain centered, composed, and self-assured regardless of external chaos. A man who has mastered emotional detachment does not allow the highs and lows of life, the opinions of others, or the pull of drama to dictate his state of mind. He moves through life with clarity, purpose, and a calm strength that draws people in, not through force, but through the aura of stability he radiates. When emotions run high, most people react impulsively, letting anger, frustration, or desire take control. The detached individual observes, evaluates, and chooses his response deliberately. He does not lash out to prove a point, nor does he chase validation to soothe insecurity. His presence alone communicates that he is in command of himself, that he values his energy, and that he cannot be easily swayed or manipulated. This control becomes magnetic because people instinctively respect someone who governs himself so effortlessly, someone who does not beg for attention but commands it naturally. Detachment allows him to focus on what truly matters. While others expend energy on petty conflicts, gossip, or emotional turmoil, he invests in growth, purpose, and meaningful connections. He understands that reacting to every emotional trigger only diminishes his power, while measured responses conserve energy and create influence. By remaining composed, he demonstrates that he is not a product of circumstances, but the author of his own life. His calmness in emotionally charged situations signals maturity, resilience, and self-respect, qualities that are irresistible to those who recognize true strength. There is also an element of mystery in emotional detachment. People are drawn to what they cannot fully predict or control. When a man does not reveal his every thought or reaction, he becomes intriguing. His restraint invites curiosity, admiration, and even respect. Emotional detachment communicates that he is self-sufficient, that his happiness and peace do not depend on others, and that he values himself too highly to compromise his integrity for fleeting approval. This invisible force attracts people, influence, and opportunities simply because it is authentic and rare in a world ruled by reaction and impulse. Emotional detachment also enhances relationships. By not being reactive, he fosters an environment of stability, understanding, and trust. Others feel safe around him, knowing that he will not be easily upset or manipulated. He listens more than he speaks, observes more than he judges, and responds with intention rather than habit. This not only strengthens bonds, but also inspires others to elevate their behavior, creating a dynamic where respect and admiration are naturally earned, not demanded. In essence, emotional detachment is not about isolation. It is about empowerment. It is about mastering oneself, preserving energy, and acting with purpose. The man who practices it commands attention effortlessly, inspires admiration silently, and influences without aggression. His composure becomes a magnet because it communicates a rare form of freedom. The freedom from reaction, the freedom to choose, and the freedom to remain unshaken in a world that constantly tests him. Emotional detachment is not a lack of feeling. It is mastery over feeling, and in that mastery lies a power few can resist. Actions speak louder than words because they reveal truth in a way that words never can. Anyone can make promises, explain intentions, or paint visions with eloquent language, but actions are the tangible proof of character, commitment, and integrity. A man who understands this truth does not waste energy on empty declarations or attempts to impress. Instead, he focuses on what he does, knowing that every deliberate choice, every consistent effort, and every quiet achievement carries more weight than any speech or argument ever could. People may be drawn to charm or rhetoric initially, but lasting respect and influence are earned through consistent behavior and meaningful results. Words are often impulsive, shaped by fleeting emotions or desires for validation. They can mislead, exaggerate, or fade into forgetfulness. Actions, however, are deliberate. They require effort, intention, and follow-through. The man who prioritizes action over words demonstrates reliability and authenticity. When he says something, people notice, not because he repeated it loudly, but because his past behavior has proven that his words carry weight. His credibility grows with each small, consistent act that aligns with his values. This quiet consistency commands respect in a world where most rely on talk rather than tangible results. Actions also reveal priorities. While someone may claim to care, support, or commit, only their behavior can confirm these words. The man who understands this principle lives in alignment with his principles and values, showing care through deeds, love through attentiveness, and strength through reliability. Others instinctively recognize the difference between someone who merely speaks and someone who acts. His presence alone communicates assurance because those around him have learned that his commitments are not empty. They are promises fulfilled through measurable effort. Consistency is the ultimate amplifier of action. While a single deed may go unnoticed, repeated actions create patterns that define reputation. A man who consistently honors his word, meets challenges with determination, and acts with integrity builds influence silently but powerfully. He doesn't need to convince others of his intentions or justify his choices. The results of his actions speak on his behalf. People naturally gravitate toward him because he demonstrates clarity, reliability, and purpose, qualities that cannot be faked with words alone. Actions also communicate strength in emotional intelligence. In moments of conflict, temptation, or challenge, the man who acts thoughtfully rather than reactively demonstrates composure, restraint, and maturity. His ability to respond appropriately without overreaction proves more than any explanation ever could. Others may argue, speculate, or judge, but his behavior consistently shows that he values principle over impulse. This silent strength draws admiration and loyalty, reinforcing the magnetic pull of a person who understands that impact comes from what he does, not what he says. In essence, actions are the language of authenticity. They expose truth, reveal priorities, and shape perception without needing validation. Words may fade, promises may break, but action endures. The man who acts intentionally, consistently, and with integrity creates influence, respect, and inspiration effortlessly. He teaches that real power does not lie in talking about intentions, but in living them every day, proving that character and strength are measured by deeds, not declarations. In a world full of noise, his actions are a clear, undeniable statement of who he truly is. Avoiding drama is a choice, and it is one of the clearest signs of a man who understands his worth and values his energy. In a world where chaos, gossip, and emotional turbulence are constantly vying for attention, choosing to remain unaffected is not a sign of weakness. It is a conscious exercise of power. A man who avoids drama recognizes that not every battle is his to fight and that not every provocation requires a reaction. By stepping away from unnecessary conflict, he preserves his focus, his peace, and his influence, demonstrating a quiet strength that commands respect. Drama often thrives on reaction. The more people respond impulsively, the more they feed it, giving it life and power over their lives. A man who chooses to avoid drama refuses to be a participant in these cycles. He observes without absorbing, he listens without internalizing, and he engages only when it matters. This restraint does not make him passive. It makes him strategic. He knows that responding to every insult, argument, or tension is a waste of energy and a distraction from his goals. By not reacting, he maintains control over his life and his emotions, signaling that he is governed by purpose rather than impulse. Choosing to avoid drama also communicates emotional maturity. It shows that he values clarity over confusion, substance over spectacle, and action over noise. People notice this composure, even if they cannot articulate it. There is a magnetic quality to someone who remains unshaken while others spiral. By refusing to engage in petty conflicts, he demonstrates that his life operates on a higher plane of thought and intention. Others may try to provoke, manipulate, or test him, but his calm detachment and refusal to participate convey boundaries without words, teaching respect through example. Drama is also a thief of focus and time. Those who immerse themselves in it may feel momentarily alive, but they are often exhausted, distracted, and unfulfilled. A man who avoids drama understands that his energy is finite and that it should be invested in growth, meaningful relationships, and personal goals. By choosing peace over chaos, he aligns himself with long-term success rather than short-term gratification. His actions, relationships, and decisions are deliberate because they are free from the interference of unnecessary emotional turbulence. Avoiding drama does not mean avoiding life or emotion. It means responding thoughtfully rather than reactively. It means prioritizing what truly matters and ignoring what does not. A man who masters this art demonstrates intelligence, restraint, and subtle influence. He sets a tone in every environment he enters, shaping interactions without force, teaching others that conflict is optional and that composure is powerful. In essence, avoiding drama is a conscious act of self-respect. It is a choice to rise above negativity, to preserve mental clarity, and to live life on one's own terms. It is not passive resignation, but active empowerment. The man who consistently chooses peace over chaos radiates confidence, stability, and magnetism. Others are drawn to him not only because he is calm, but because he embodies the rare understanding that life's energy is precious, and protecting it is one of the most powerful decisions a person can make. Avoiding drama is more than behavior. It is a philosophy, a reflection of self-mastery, and a hidden strength that shapes every aspect of his life. Confidence comes from within because it is not built on external approval or validation, but on a deep understanding of one's own worth. A man who possesses true confidence does not need to boast, seek attention, or compete for recognition. His presence alone communicates assurance because he knows who he is, what he stands for, and what he will and will not tolerate. Confidence is quiet yet powerful. It is not loud or aggressive, but magnetic, drawing people in naturally without forcing them to notice. Internal confidence is rooted in self-awareness. It begins with knowing one's strengths and weaknesses, accepting them without judgment, and acting in alignment with one's values. When a man understands himself fully, he does not feel the need to impress others or conform to societal expectations. His decisions are deliberate, his actions intentional, and his demeanor composed. This clarity of purpose cultivates an inner certainty that cannot be shaken by criticism, rejection, or temporary setbacks. While many people rely on external factors to feel good about themselves, he draws his energy and assurance from a place that no one else can influence. Confidence from within also manifests in resilience. A confident man is not defined by his circumstances or the opinions of others. He is defined by how he responds to challenges. When faced with obstacles, he does not crumble, complain, or over-explain. Instead, he assesses, adapts, and moves forward with composure. This internal strength allows him to navigate life with a sense of calm authority, inspiring others without needing to assert control. People naturally gravitate towards someone who is secure in himself because security is contagious. It creates trust, admiration, and respect. Another hallmark of internal confidence is self-reliance. He does not seek constant validation or approval from others because he has already built a foundation of self-respect and belief in his abilities. This does not mean he is arrogant or detached. Rather, he is centered. He engages with others from a place of choice, not need. His interactions are authentic, and his decisions reflect his priorities, not the expectations of those around him. Confidence rooted in self-awareness allows him to set boundaries, pursue his goals, and express himself without hesitation or apology. Internal confidence also frees a man from comparison. He does not measure his worth against the success, opinions, or achievements of others. Instead, he focuses on growth, consistency, and alignment with his own values. By eliminating the need for external validation, he cultivates a sense of peace and security that radiates outward. People sense this stability intuitively. It is rare and therefore magnetic. Confidence that comes from within does not waver in the face of doubt or judgment. It is constant, unwavering, and self-sustained. In essence, confidence comes from knowing oneself, embracing one's journey, and acting with purpose. It is cultivated through self-awareness, resilience, discipline, and authenticity. A man who draws his assurance from within does not need to shout, prove, or compete. His presence speaks for him. His confidence is a reflection of mastery over self, clarity of purpose, and an unshakable understanding of his own value. It is invisible yet undeniable, quiet yet commanding, and it touches every aspect of his life, influencing others and creating respect without demand. True confidence is not borrowed or performed. It is lived from the inside out, and in that living, it becomes irresistible. Being observant and calculated is a mark of quiet intelligence and power. A man who masters this skill does not rush to judgment or act impulsively. He watches, listens, and assesses every situation with patience, understanding that haste and reaction often lead to mistakes. His strength lies in his ability to absorb information, read between the lines, and anticipate outcomes before taking action. Observation allows him to understand people, dynamics, and patterns, while calculation ensures that every decision he makes carries maximum impact with minimal wasted effort. Observation is more than seeing, it is perceiving. The observant man notices subtleties that others overlook: a hesitation in tone, a fleeting expression, the hidden motives behind actions. He understands that people reveal themselves through small, seemingly insignificant behaviors. By paying attention, he gains insight into intentions, desires, and vulnerabilities, not through confrontation, but through careful study. This awareness allows him to navigate interactions with precision, avoiding unnecessary conflict, missteps, or wasted energy. People often underestimate him because his power is quiet, but it is precisely this subtlety that makes him formidable. Being calculated does not mean being cold or detached. It means acting with intention. Every move is deliberate, every word chosen, every response weighed against possible outcomes. He does not allow emotions to dictate his choices. Anger, impatience, or frustration are acknowledged but not allowed to steer his actions. Instead, he evaluates the situation logically, balancing short-term needs with long-term goals. This strategic approach ensures that his efforts yield maximum results, while impulsive or reactive behavior is minimized. By thinking before acting, he avoids the common traps of drama, regret, or wasted energy, and positions himself as someone reliable and in control. Observation and calculation together create a sense of unpredictability and respect. People are drawn to him because he is intentional in his actions, yet subtle in his presence. They cannot easily predict how he will respond because he does not reveal his thoughts or strategies prematurely. This creates a magnetic aura of mystery and authority. His silence is not emptiness. It is a space in which he plans, analyzes, and positions himself advantageously. Others may speak quickly, react emotionally, or make careless choices, but he moves deliberately, letting his results, not his words, speak for him. Being observant and calculated also fosters self-protection and resilience. He can identify threats, challenges, or manipulations before they escalate. He does not need to confront every problem immediately. He chooses his battles wisely, focusing only on what truly matters. This discernment preserves his energy, strengthens his influence, and ensures that his actions have lasting impact. People respect him not because he dominates, but because he demonstrates clarity, foresight, and the ability to act when it counts most. In essence, being observant and calculated is mastery of perception and action. It is the ability to see beyond the obvious, to understand hidden dynamics, and to respond with strategy rather than impulse. The man who embodies this quality exudes quiet authority, navigates life with precision, and earns respect effortlessly. His actions are purposeful, his presence commanding, and his influence undeniable, all because he watches, waits, and chooses wisely. This combination of insight and intentionality becomes a powerful force that shapes outcomes, inspires admiration, and establishes a legacy of intelligence and restraint. Power lies in restraint because it is the silent force that separates the impulsive from the truly strong. A man who exercises restraint does not rush to act on every impulse, anger, or desire. He understands that every reaction has consequences and that yielding to emotion often diminishes influence, credibility, and control. True power is not loud or aggressive. It is measured, deliberate, and intentional. By holding back, by choosing when and how to respond, he preserves his energy, sharpens his focus, and cultivates an aura of authority that others instinctively respect. Restraint is mastery over oneself. It requires self-awareness, discipline, and emotional intelligence. A man who understands restraint can feel emotions deeply, yet he does not allow them to dictate his actions. He recognizes that impulsive behavior, reactive words, and uncontrolled responses are often tools of weakness, even if they seem powerful in the moment. By pausing before reacting, he assesses the situation, considers the long-term impact, and responds with strategy rather than haste. This level of self-control is magnetic because it communicates that he is governed by principle, not by circumstance, and that his life is guided by choice rather than chaos. Power in restraint is also reflected in relationships. The man who does not give in to every argument, provocation, or manipulation teaches respect without demanding it. He demonstrates that boundaries are non-negotiable and that his energy is precious. Others are drawn to him because he does not overreact, over-explain, or overcommit. His presence is steady, his demeanor composed, and his influence undeniable. In a world of drama, impulsiveness, and volatility, restraint is rare, and rare commands attention. Restraint is not passive, it is active strength. It allows a man to observe, evaluate, and choose his moments wisely. By not reacting to every situation, he avoids unnecessary conflict, preserves his dignity, and positions himself to act when it truly matters. People may mistake his silence or patience for weakness, but in reality, it is a demonstration of control and strategic thinking. The power of restraint lies in its subtlety. While others expend energy reacting to every provocation, he conserves his energy for the moments that will define him, and his actions carry far greater impact because they are deliberate. Moreover, restraint cultivates patience and perspective. The ability to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully creates clarity in decision-making and ensures that his influence is sustainable. He does not chase validation, compete unnecessarily, or allow emotions to cloud judgment. Instead, he operates from a place of calm authority, where every choice strengthens his position and reflects his values. People naturally sense this quiet power. It inspires trust, respect, and admiration. In essence, power lies in restraint because it transforms energy into influence, impulse into strategy, and emotion into control. A man who masters restraint becomes unpredictable, authoritative, and magnetic. He does not need to dominate, demand attention, or prove himself at every turn. His strength is revealed in his ability to pause, in his discipline to act deliberately, and in his wisdom to value what truly matters. Through restraint, he shapes his life with intention, earns respect effortlessly, and demonstrates a form of power that is quiet, enduring, and impossible to ignore. In conclusion, the essence of true strength and influence lies not in force, noise, or constant reaction, but in the mastery of oneself. From calmness and self-control to emotional detachment, strategic observation, and disciplined restraint, each quality we explored reflects a man who operates from purpose rather than impulse. His confidence comes from within, his actions speak louder than words, and his avoidance of drama demonstrates wisdom and clarity. Such a man does not need to prove himself. His presence, composure, and deliberate choices naturally command respect, inspire admiration, and draw people toward him. The hidden power of the man who doesn't react is a combination of patience, insight, and self-mastery, a quiet force that influences without aggression, leads without demanding, and shapes his life with intention. In a world full of reaction, noise, and chaos, this power stands out, proving that true strength is cultivated internally, lived intentionally, and expressed through actions far more than words ever could.